From the NewsTalkSTL studios in St. Louis, it's the Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter. On tonight's episode, Israeli children's author Bracha Goetz, attorney Peter Ticktin on being lifelong friends with Trump, and the Right Mind studio band, Mitch Murphy and the Murphy Tones. Now, putting the fun in your dysfunctional world, here's your host, Todd Schowalter.
The freaks are shaving their heads. Did you hear about this?
The freaks are out tonight.
They're out tonight. And we'll be able to notice who they are because they're going to have shaved heads. That's the latest and greatest that I just heard about. Yeah, all the people that are upset that Donald Trump, well, I'm very happy won, but they're not. And so they're going to shave their heads, okay, so that we know who they are. And I thought we knew that already because they were still wearing masks.
What is it? Is it no shave November or do shave November? I know it's no fap. No fapping, everyone. So if you see a woman with a shaved head, remember, she does not want to look attractive, and that's in honor of No Fap November.
Oh, what is fap?
Fap, that's where you get intimate with yourself.
Intimate with yourself?
Mm-hmm. So there's people who do like Sober October where you go and you make sure you don't drink or partake in any drugs. And then No Shave November. That's usually something to do with a charity. Yeah. Like if there's a prostate cancer charity, they may do something like growing out a mustache, Movember.
Got it.
And then there's people who try to not get intimate with themselves for an entire month because they're freaks. And so they practice a little bit of self-celibacy.
Self-celibacy.
So this is going in perfectly with the feminists that are shaving their head and withholding the goods.
Withholding this. Well, see, I think if you shave your head and you're really ugly, your only opportunity for sex is with yourself, isn't it? Is it not?
Something like that. It sounded like you had never heard of this South Korean protest thing.
No, I have not. Please do explain.
The 4B movement. And don't worry about the B part because it's all in Korean or something. But it's basically the women have come up with this protest in South Korea where they do the four things. You know, they look ugly, they don't get married, they don't have sex, they don't have children.
Right.
And ever since the presidential election results came out, the American women are trying to take on this protest. So they're shaving their heads and they're not putting out or...
Again, that kind of all comes together anyway, doesn't it? Because if you shave your head, you're ugly, you're not going to have sex. And if you don't have sex, you're not going to have children. Don't they realize how these things work? Because you do understand, my friend, don't you, that now that we have Donald Trump back in office almost, that, you know, biology is going to come back, okay? We're not going to have 40 million genders anymore. We're now going to be able to actually just admit that we only have two genders. And I think that goes along with the whole thing about not having sex, you're not going to have children, that whole thing, doesn't it? Or maybe it doesn't mean anything like that at all.
I don't know if Trump has that sort of power. Does he put it on the flag?
I think he does, actually. One of the things he is doing, though, is he's appointing all these people that are really making a lot of the liberals upset. And that is how I know those are good picks, because they're all freaking out.
You imagine if he picked you, how angry everyone would be?
Oh, my gosh.
I got tapped. He tapped me.
Oh, yes, that would be something.
No tap November.
Well, he can tap.
Don't choose us, Trump. We're busy. We're making a radio show right now.
You can't tap yourself, though, because you're supposed to be celibate towards yourself. Going back to the appointees, though, they're really freaking out.
The gates have been unleashed. They've opened the gates. They unlocked them, and now Gates is out.
Can you believe it? Can you believe
lock
it?
up your daughters if Gates is out there. I mean,
I think that was all made up. Now, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that one up, because all these people on Twitter that are leaving now, and I really don't care. It'll be great. It'll be a safe place to have fun now, because with all the freaks are leaving, and they make a big deal like, goodbye, don't let the door hit you.
It's like they're going to heaven, because a lot of the liberals are going to this other app called Blue Sky. It's like they got raptured. They're just their shoes are left at Twitter, and they're like, going to Blue Sky. That's the name of the left-leaning Twitter.
Really, I've not heard of this.
Well, there you
is
go.
It out? Who's in charge of this little nugget? Don Lemon? Oh, he's leaving. You got Jamie Lee Curtis leaving. They're all leaving, and I don't care. You're big on Twitter, aren't you?
I don't post much because I feel like my life isn't that worthy, but I am always on Twitter scamming, scrolling, doom scrolling, and all that.
Right.
I get a lot of my content for the Big Boy radio show I do. I grab all the Big Boy sound clips for that show. I do scroll through Twitter.
Yeah, well, they're all leaving now, so you don't have to worry about it. It's all going to be a safer place. I think life in general is going to be a lot safer because, things are going to go back to normal, God willing, here very soon. And again, we'll now know who the people are that are causing all the trouble and all the freaks, because they're going to have a mask on and they're going to be bald. Isn't that convenient? So they're going to be bald, wear masks, and they're also going to wear blue bracelets. And you know what they're going to say? They're going to call us weird. They call us weird as they're walking around bald with a mask mask and a blue bracelet on. I tell you what, it's going to be a better place. Are you excited for the holidays? Because we got Thanksgiving coming up here. Is it next week or the week after that?
Who knows? They move it around. Ever since Lincoln came around, he just shook up the whole calendar. We had it where we wanted it, and he said, no, fourth Thursday. Who knows when Thursdays are anymore?
Is that what? Okay, so it's the fourth. I got all flummoxed amongst it.
It's the fourth Thursday every year since Lincoln came in, and that's why they took him out. They just said, you know what, quit messing with the calendar.
Yeah, that is quite silly. It's kind of like other holidays. I mean, I think like the Super Bowl and certain things should be like on a Saturday. Halloween, for example. It should be like, if you were going to do that, make Halloween like the last Saturday of the month, not the 31st. Where with Thanksgiving, no, they should stick to an actual day with that. This is getting pretty deep, isn't it?
Well, it depends on how you like to space out your vacation. Yeah. So, yes, you do get Thursday, and then if you're real freaky, you'll take Friday off too, right? So you get a 4-day weekend. But then what's happening when you actually have to get somewhere on that Thursday, right?
Right.
Grandma's house is 8 hours away. They always have early dinner. 3, 4 o'clock. What time do you have to leave St. Louis to get to freaking Boston or something like that for dinner? I mean, you can't do it. You got to leave Wednesday night, drive all through the night, and then you're too sleepy to eat your turkey, and then you fall asleep anyway.
Well, you didn't do what I told you. I said you just say you're allergic to Grandma and you can't go.
Are you thinking of taking your lady on a vacation or a flight for this holiday season?
Yes,
do you get to go away? Because
yes.
You go to Florida when it gets cold, don't you?
Yes, I do, because I'm afraid of the cold. No, actually, I hate the cold. I hate the cold, and I hate snow. And I'm not afraid to say it, dang it. People say, oh, it's so pretty. No, it's not. I'd rather look at a horrible car wreck than I would snow.
Well, be careful. Spirit Airlines has a few new bullet holes in their planes.
Really?
There was one flight that flew from Florida to Haiti. I don't know why they keep trying to make Haiti happen.
Yeah.
It's a reckless place over there. Gangs are roving the streets. Spirit Airline tries to land at the airport, and gangsters just start shooting up the bottom of the plane.
Why?
Shrapnel hits a flight attendant, and then they pull back up, and they're like, no, thank you.
Really?
Good thing there was a doctor next door, and by that I mean the Dominican Republic. The DR. I'm sure they just landed next door.
I've got you. Have you ever been to one of those regions?
I have been to Haiti.
You've been to Haiti?
I have.
For what reason?
I was going to a resort.
They have Haitian resorts?
They sure do. If you go on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line.
Oh, that's right.
They have like a 100-year lease with Haiti.
Get out.
It's dirt cheap because nobody wants to go there.
No.
So one of the ports that they stop at on Royal Caribbean is Haiti.
Yes.
But you have no idea because it's got a giant fortress wall around it and armed guards around the wall as well. I actually made a left at the wrong side of the bathroom, and they pulled guns on me, and they said, please, sir, could you please go back the other way?
Oh, my.
And I said, all right, I just crapped my pants. Good bathroom break, and then I left.
Wow.
And what happens is, because it's so dangerous to live in Haiti, they can't even transport the employees to and from their war-torn villages that are on fire. Because
and this is a place you can go for vacation.
They shut it down recently because of the most recent gang warfare, so they're not going there now. But I went just a couple years ago to Labadee, Haiti.
Labadee, Haiti. Mm-hmm. And is that in their brochure, their tourist guide, that there's like gunfights and drug cartels and things like that?
On the other side of the wall. They say, I promise you, on the other side, it's real crazy out there.
Hey, guess what?
They actually had a roller coaster there. I rode a roller coaster in Haiti.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
That's amazing. I've just been waiting to say this ever since you started this story, but are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. I hated that story. In the meantime, I'm Todd Schowalter. I'm on my good buddy Joey B. This is The Right Mind Show. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter, Israel resident and author of over 40 children's books, Bracha Goetz.
Are you like me and you like great books? Well, I found a place that has a lot of great books. A traditional publisher right up in Macon County, Deep Read Press. DeepReadPress.com, that's the website to find out exactly what they have. And again, they got traditional books. They are a traditional publisher. Deep Read Press does a lot of things that I particularly like, and most of them has to do with great books. So if you're looking for a publisher to publish, or if you're just looking for a place to find a lot of great books, it's Deep Read Press at DeepReadPress.com.
Welcome back to The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter on NewsTalkSTL. And now a man who doesn't have health insurance, but reads a Dr. Seuss book every night to help him go to sleep, Todd Schowalter.
And we're back. I'm Todd Schowalter along with my good buddy Joey V. And on the line now from Israel is Bracha Goetz. Is it Goetz? Did I pronounce your name right?
Perfectly.
Oh, that's
yes.
Well, hey, that's great. Well, I guess we can go. That's all I wanted to do. I'm kidding you. How are you today? How are things over in Israel?
Thank God, right now.
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah, it's quite a hectic time to be. Have you lived in Israel your whole life?
No, I definitely not. No, but I'm returning here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you're a Harvard graduate. You've authored over 40 children's books. Tell us a little bit about what you do, and tell us about your books.
Okay, sure. Basically, I wasn't brought up religious, and I was brought up to be very liberal. I would say, like my father especially, was into socialism, and I just felt such an emptiness in my life that I couldn't explain growing up.
Mm-hmm.
The books that I write are the books that I wish I had as a child. Basically, I'm explaining to children from the beginning of life what the purpose of life is, the secrets to happiness, how to find real fulfillment in life, and because that's what was missing. I wasn't brought up with an understanding that we're all spiritual beings. We're souls. We're more than just our bodies. And when I finally learned that as a young adult, that's when I, went off the liberal path onto a more conservative way of thinking. And basically, I felt like the life I used to live was kind of normalizing immorality. And I think that's what's really happened in today's culture a lot. So I went back to living a life with morals. Morals returned to my life, and also a life of gratitude, because that's what I didn't grow up with.
Okay, because again, if you grew up as a liberal, I mean, typically, especially, I shouldn't say liberal, but it was from a socialism standpoint. I mean, pretty much everything. The state is the the religion, isn't it? I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And now I think politics has become a religion for people in replacing religion. It's that important to people that are like in the woke mindset. It's become their religion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's kind of what's happened.
I totally agree, and
yeah.
and the fact that you mentioned that you're trying to bring back morality, and
right.
to do that at an early age. I mean, it just seems so important and so logical. I mean, but we're just
right.
bombarded. It seems, especially here in the United States, with like the DEI, the woke, the the different things
yep.
going on, and kids. I mean, there's such impressionable minds at an early
yes.
age. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, how do you what is your strategy? I mean, how do you break through all this? And hopefully, in the next couple of years, now that we have a new president in office, I mean, it'll be easier. But how do you break through all of that and get your message out there?
You do it one person at a time. Each child that reads my book gets affected. That I have now. My 44th book is coming out soon. And it's reaching people. Hundreds of thousands of people are reading the books. They're being affected from as early in life as possible. Because we can all play catch up. I played catch up in life. Mm-hmm. But the earlier that you get a deep understanding of what life is all about, it's empowering. You don't feel so lost. I felt totally lost. Mm-hmm. I felt like, what's the purpose of life? And I was out there, and I would have been one of those woke protesters now. I can totally understand where they're coming from. They don't know any better. They have at Harvard, I went there to gain wisdom about life, and that's not what happened. So even, I thought that was the top, mm-hmm. but it wasn't. And you see it now at Harvard, that the people are so lost. They need a real education, because that's not what you get there. It's you learn there, and I actually in my memoir, it's the story of my whole journey from it's age 12 to 32, and you see me searching desperately, developing addictions along the way, and then healing as I finally found the fulfillment that my soul was craving, so that's what addictions are all about. There's an emptiness, a genuine emptiness inside of people, and they try desperately to fill it with externalities, whether that's, these agendas or these political agendas or whatever the addiction is. And it just gets the hole deeper and deeper, and the people get more and more miserable because it's not a physical hole, it's a spiritual hole. And that can be filled with genuine gratitude. Practicing gratitude for all the gifts we've been given in life. So that's what I teach children, how to open their eyes and be grateful for this amazing world that we've been given.
I couldn't agree more. And the fact that you write these for children is fantastic. But I think a lot of adults could benefit from it. I mean, do you write for adults as well?
Well, that's the secret. People don't realize when you write a children's book, guess who reads it?
Right.
The youngest children. The parents are reading it to the children. The grandparents are reading it. Teachers are reading it. And teenagers, they pick up the books when no one's looking. So you can reach every single age with a children's book. It's so valuable. It's such an important way to communicate, and I encourage more and more people to do this because we got to reach our children, and we are. And you see the miracle that just happened with the election.
Yes.
And we can't take it for granted. This was definitely a miracle that happened before our eyes. And all of us right now are living at such an important time in history where every single one of our efforts counts. We see what we were losing here in America. I'm not in America right now, but we see what America was going down the drain. And now look, I mean, and so many people have caught on. We didn't even realize we were in the majority. We didn't know Trump was going to win. We had no idea. Everyone thought it was going to be close. And we're really the silent majority, but we didn't know it because they are so noisy and loud.
Yes.
That we had the feeling they were winning. That's it. Yeah,
and it is, and it was such just a relief for me personally. Yes. I know a lot of people, but what's interesting is that everybody seems so indoctrinated by the liberal media over here. I mean, it's interesting that you said. I mean, you're in Israel. That other countries, I think other countries were as relieved as we were, and the media won't tell you that. They'll say, "Oh, it's the end of the world now." It's like And I think everybody, there was a universal sigh of relief when finally good did prevail. I mean, so you got that over there in Israel as well.
Oh, my goodness. Israel is rejoicing that Trump is back. You cannot imagine. I mean, Trump was so wonderful for Israel.
Mm-hmm,
so the religious Jews, we voted for Trump overwhelmingly.
That's wonderful.
I was able to vote from here. All of us voted from here. It was really important to us. And Israel was pushing us, get their ballots out. They were helping us in every way to vote from here. So it's vital. And we really can be rejoicing right now too, because all those movie stars and all those big shots out there with so much publicity, but that's not really what matters. It's that small, still voice inside of us. And God can do anything. And we saw it. We just saw it happen.
I totally agree. I think God answered our prayers. And I tell you, with Thanksgiving coming up here in the States, I joked with my brother this morning. I think I've never been more thankful than this election than anything in my entire life. Well, your books sound wonderful. How can people get a hold of your books, and how can they reach out to you and get to know more about you as well?
The best way is from our website. My children have developed my website. My children are running the business because I'm not a business person. I'm just an ideas person. I just want to spread these messages all over the world, and they're running the business. So it's called Growing Impact Publications. We're making an impact. The impact is growing. It's Growing Impact Publications, and my children will be so happy. Anyone who visits the website, and for free, you can download this chart that I made about how to bring gratitude into your life at any moment. You can download the Pleasure Ladder, and I think you'll find it very, very helpful. It's for all ages, and you'll find all my books on the website.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been very enlightening, and I wish you all the best, and we look forward to having you back again soon, okay?
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your great work.
Oh, thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Donald Trump's buddy, his childhood friend, Peter Ticktin, if I said that right. And I have a lot of questions to ask him, and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I want to know when they met and when's the last time they got in contact, and if he has the ability to text Donald Trump right now when we have him on the phone.
I think what you read my mind. Let's find out when we get back. In the meantime, I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my bestest buddy, Joey V. This is The Right Mind Show. We'll be right back.
Coming up next on The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter, attorney Peter Ticktin on being lifelong friends with Donald Trump. Welcome back to The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter on NewsTalkSTL. And now a man who is currently involved in a bitter lawsuit with Santa over the hoof-print-shaped holes that were left in his roof last Christmas, Todd Schowalter.
And we're back. I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my buddy Joey V on The Right Mind Show. And sitting with me now, actually in the flesh, Joey, we've got Jake and Joe from Tesson Roofing. How are you guys doing today?
All good. Thank you for having us on.
Oh, well, hey, I got to tell you what, starting tomorrow, they're going to be doing our roof, okay? You guys are. And I'm very picky when it comes to people putting on a new roof, because that's not something, Joey, that you do like every other day, okay? But you guys have been selected as the grand prize winner to do our roof, along with being driven crazy as I don't know if you heard the whole story, but I've driven this guy crazy. But one of the things I want to get right to is Jake here was very tolerant. He was very knowledgeable. He explained everything to me. And one of the things I think that people have a hard time with, especially after all these storms that hit us, you've got these roofing people running around door to door, leaving flyers. I just questioned a lot of it, but you guys put my mind at ease right away. Tell us about your company and why you guys are different.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool process that we run over at Tesson. So with Tesson Roofing, a lot of these other companies, and there's nothing wrong with what they do. They're going to run around, they're going to knock on your doors, they're going to talk to you, they're going to try to help you out with the problem that you have. We run it a little bit differently. So since we're a local business, we've created relationships out here in the community, and people call us. We run out little marketing things on, say, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. But most of our stuff is inbound because we've already created relationships, past customers, friends, family, everything like that, and help the St. Louis area the best that we can. There's nothing wrong with what they do. Sometimes there are storm chasers, as you would call it. Mm-hmm. But we're located out in Fenton. We don't have to go spot to spot to spot, so we make sure we take care of everybody in the St. Louis area.
How long have you guys been around?
About 16 years.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things I was impressed with is that when Jake came out, again, he did the inspection, but we had a lot of people with, some people had drones, some people would call you from their grandmother's house. I don't know what, but they say, you have this, this, and this. And Jake even said, well, hey, you have damage here, but this part isn't as bad. And so he was very thorough. And again, I'm not just trying to glorify you guys, but I was impressed because a lot of times, you don't get that from roofing company contractors, things like that. And I think, wouldn't you say, putting somebody's, peace of mind, that's almost as important as the roof itself.
Yeah, well, honesty is the key whenever it comes to a lot of this. Sometimes there's a bad name created in the roofing industry by some of the other guys, and some people do the things that they want to do in their own way. But the biggest reason why we have so many callbacks and we don't have to have door knockers and we don't have to canvass houses and everything like that is because whenever we show up at your house, we're going to give you an in-depth inspection. We're going to do point A through Z, make sure that everything is checked. And we're going to tell you the honest answer. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, if I can't give you hail, if I can't promise you that this is going to happen, I'm going to tell you I can't promise this is going to happen. But also at the same time, I'm going to bring up everything that we can do in the process to try to make this the best we possibly can and make sure that you get the end result that you're looking for.
But what were you telling me, Jake, that you actually have something about the shingles or something that's that you said that the actual materials that you use, they're even warranted and they're the highest quality or something? What I'm getting technical here.
It kind of depends. So we use Certainteed. So the reason that we use Certainteed is made locally here in Jonesburg.
Okay.
They're the thickest shingle on the market. That's why we stand behind them, because they stand behind their brand like we stand behind our workmanship. That's why we're able to give that 25-year workmanship warranty, best, longest warranty in Missouri. We've built such a reputable company and a reputable relationship with Certainteed because we know their products work.
Mm-hmm.
We trust them. They trust us. We have that relationship with them. There is one thing that we are able to offer that not a lot of people are. It's called a 5-star warranty from Certainteed. You had mentioned that if a company offers a warranty and they might not be here in 5 years, this kind of prevents that and gives that homeowner peace of mind, saying, hey, not only are you backed by us with our 25-year warranty, you'll also have a 10-year transferable warranty, as well as if anything ever happened to Tesson Roofing, you are still backed by Certainteed themselves.
Right. So it's pretty much across the board. You're pretty much covered. And I'll mention this, too. I mean, my insurance company, they said you are a preferred, vendor or something like that. So that gave me assurance, too. And I have to admit, I mean, I have to say that along with roofs, of course, my wife said, well, we want all this other stuff done also. You know, we could use new gutters. We could use this trim done. And you guys said, oh, well, Jake did rather. He said, oh, we do that, too. He says, we take care of gutters. And so we're getting new gutters. She wanted the trim on the garage fixed. And Jake said, we do that, too. And then I said, well, I need the lawn cut. And Jake said, I don't do that. And so that's when we send them home. Yeah. And so that was pretty much it. But you do everything except for cut my grass.
Yeah. We're a full service exterior company.
Okay.
So pretty much everything besides getting into like tuck pointing.
Yeah.
Counter flashing your chimneys, your roof, your siding, your gutters, window wraps, trim, stuff like that.
Got it.
I kind of forgot.
Well, yeah, pretty much covered it.
Soffit, fascia, gutters, anything. I mean, if it's on the outside of your house, we'll touch it, and if we can't help you with it, we'll point you in the right direction.
You just won't do lawn work. And I don't blame you for that, because that gets a little repetitive after a while. Well, if I want to get a roof, and I'm going to say, hey, how can I get a hold of Jake's mom? What's the best way to do that?
That would be 314-254-4210.
Okay. If you want to get a hold of Jake's mom and get a new roof and a bunch of other stuff, just call that number, and they will take care of you. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We look forward, and like I said, you guys are tomorrow. That's when we get our brand new roof. They delivered everything yesterday. And what I liked also, again, I mentioned he sent an email that said this is what we can prepare. It kind of reminded me of like when I had to go in for a colonoscopy about what I was supposed to do the day before and everything like that. And I even looked at it, and I think I'm wearing shingles for underpants now or something. I'm not sure what it is, but I got the colonoscopy. See where I'm going there?
Yeah,
maybe
of
not.
course.
Yeah, okay, maybe not.
They show up in the awesome blue uniform, and then you there with no
towel,
pants
I
guess. Yeah.
Hey, we've seen worse, man. We've seen worse on some of these job sites.
Well, yeah, he's seen me worse too. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much. And on the line now is Peter Ticktin. He's an author. He's an attorney. He's also a lifelong friend of Donald Trump. How are you doing, sir?
I couldn't be happier.
I can't either. I've been saying it's like my birthday when I was 5, Christmas morning, the Super Bowl, everything. All wrapped into one. I am giddy, and I just can't get over the euphoria. So I'm sure that you're feeling equally as well, if not more.
Well, we saved the world.
We did.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I feel. I was just mentioning to my partner here that it was almost as if we were on an airplane about to crash into into a mountain, and you're just preparing to die. You say, "Okay, this is it. We're done." And all of a sudden, Donald Trump gets up out of his seat, says, "I can fly the plane," and he saves us all. I mean, it's been such just an utter relief. I mean, is that what everybody else on your end is experiencing? Because go ahead.
Yeah, that's the word. I love your analogy. I love that. Because it's so right.
Yeah.
But yeah, relief is the word, because we were really headed towards that crash. I mean, if anybody thinks that Kamala, whatever her name is, was gonna save our economy or do anything, it was all a farce.
Oh, of course.
I mean, she was gonna take fossil fuels to a point that we can't even imagine. It was going to be unaffordable for most people. She was going to bring us crippled to our knees.
I don't think we would have survived. I mean, I think I've talked to other people that said, well, yeah, the country would have survived, but I think it would have been fundamentally changed so drastically that it would have been really hard to recover from. And I mean, we avoided that, and even better, I mean, I'm just so excited about what's to come. Again, I've just got a constant adrenaline going through my veins. You were actually there at the party, weren't you, in Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the buzz? Go ahead.
Well, it was a very bad moment in time there. I don't remember what time it was, about 1 o'clock or so.
Okay.
Maybe, I'm not sure of the time. I wasn't paying attention to the time. I was paying more attention to where we were. I mean, you have a state that's 97% counted, a 5% differential of about 150,000 votes, and nobody was calling it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so you knew the fix was coming, because why else are they talking about we're going to figure this out tomorrow? And why else were they not calling those states?
You're right. Yeah.
So what I think happened, I think we were just fast. The counting of the votes was faster than they thought it was going to be, because I think they thought they would have time, like last time, to be able to say, okay, it's kind of late now, we're going to wait until the morning and resume, or whatever the plan they had.
Mm-hmm.
And because nobody was calling the vote.
No.
And then somebody at Fox, and I don't know who it was, but that person needs a medal. Somebody at Fox News had the cojones, I hope I can use that word.
Sure.
To basically call a couple of the states where there was no chance it could be reversed for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, Fox doesn't have its own decision desk.
Okay.
So Fox doesn't have the right to do that. The only ones that can call are people that have a decision desk. So what happens is AP basically syndicates out the right. You know, they call the election. You can say you called it, but you're basing it on AP's decision desk.
Mm-hmm.
And because these people actually go through a process of analysis. But once Fox called it without authority, but in a sense they kind of had authority, because anybody could tell it was impossible for those states not to go for Donald Trump at that point. So you know, anybody could be the decision desk, you know, in a way of speaking, because it was obvious. And after that, about an hour later, then finally AP said, well, you know, they got to call it. So they called it as well.
So that's interesting, because on my standpoint, I didn't go to sleep. I was like, I'm not going to wake up like last time and say, what the heck happened? So there was no way that I was going to sleep. But you actually, you kind of had a feeling of dread. You're saying that, oh no, here we go again?
Yeah, standing 10 feet away from Donald Trump, and you know, it was really nobody in between us even, and I could see he was upset. He, you know, all he said to me, you know, we exchanged hellos, but I could tell that, you know, that he was upset. I was. We were all concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea came that we needed to announce that we're the winners. And
okay.
I think Michael Flynn was involved in that, but because I did speak to him too that night. But anyway, then everybody headed away from Mar-a-Lago. I mean, at this beautiful place where we were for dinner, and then all headed to the other party, which was at the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where when we finally got there, that's when we heard that AP finally called the election for Donald Trump.
And what a moment that was. Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, you know, because, you know, otherwise everybody would have known that it was fixed, but there wouldn't have been, you know, what do you do about it?
Right.
And that would have been the whole next world of litigation, world of turmoil. But he did what he set out to do. He said, we've got to make it too big to rig.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
And that's what he did.
Yeah.
There was such a landslide of people that were coming out. I mean, he won. What was it? We were hearing about 60% of the black male vote.
Right. Yeah.
We you know, that was nothing like that's happened for Republicans before. We've got much more of the Hispanic. Anybody who could see what the heck was going on. Because
Sure.
there is something because they're still there. There's something very, very seriously wrong with these people. You know, I mean, whether it's the World Health Organization or probably much more likely the World Economic Forum,
Right.
and their plans for us, or whether it's just crazy people that want power, which, you know, really, I think it's far more likely it's the World Economic Forum and all their people, and, you know, they got most of the billionaires in the world that are signed on with them.
Right, yeah, but Klaus Schwalter,
Yeah.
and everybody, yeah, and the thing with the whole globalism thing that they're pushing, it's almost like something out of a scary superhero movie. And here we got Donald Trump that comes in as the hero himself. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous some of the things that, you know, that they would even propose. I mean, that is obviously going to be the villain. I mean, one of the villains, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
do you know how he's going to go about, you know, saving us from that?
Yeah, well, the first thing he's going to do is reverse the downfall of our economy.
Mm-hmm.
When you make energy less expensive, you make everything less expensive,
Sure.
because you know you can't grow food without fossil fuels. You can't drive your car without it, but you can't manufacture anything without it. So, you know, our world slows down with this great adventure that these lefties have, where they want to eliminate the use of fossil fuels. You can't do it. We would all be starving, and that's what their plan was.
Mm-hmm.
They're so afraid of this global warming idea. I mean, even if they're right, even if global warming is occurring, you know, is it really going on as fast as they have to, that they have to go to the extremes that they think that they need to go to? Is it really where they see it and none of us? I think, you know, basically they want to just save themselves at the expense of the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I think the whole the climate change and climate crisis and all that stuff, to me, it just sounds like another control issue. I mean, I've heard things where they're going to say, oh, now we're going to have climate mandates and things like that, which is so ludicrous. I mean, they've been talking about climate change for decades, and it just seems like another control mechanism. And again, I mean, they've basically crippled us at this point with this horrible administration that we have right now. And your buddy Donald Trump said, you know, on day one, you know, we're going to start drilling and getting back to normal. I mean, again, I mean, without going to just saying utter euphoria, I mean, internally with his whole, his close friends and people like you, is it the same way? Or, I mean, you've got to be as excited as we are.
Oh, the word you used before was relieved.
Yeah.
I mean, think about where we'd be going. I mean, if they would have gotten away with fixing the election again, then we know we have no country. We know that foreign influence is basically dictating. I mean, but nobody thinks for a second that Biden was in charge. I mean, obviously he was a puppet. And so then who are the puppeteers? You know, who are the ones that are actually making him do what he's doing? And Kamala was an empty-headed person. They needed that kind of a person.
Yeah.
Because they needed somebody that couldn't be a real leader, that would be another puppet. So if we would have ended up with that, you know, there's a lot of people that I talk to that talk in terms of, well, there would have been another, you know, a civil war.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that would have played out or if it could have played out. But, you know, meanwhile, I mean, because, you know, let's face it, the federal government has the firepower to quelch different revolutions would have come. There was only one way that we could have saved our country, you know, for sure. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened on Tuesday the 5th.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of prayers involved, and our prayers were answered, and he's certainly the one to get us back on track and take us to a better place. Now, you've known him ever since what? You went to military school together, and you were his platoon leader or something like that? You tell the story.
No. Well, it was more the other way around. He was my captain, and he made me a platoon sergeant.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He gave me that rank.
Okay.
And then I joke, I tell people I ran his first company for him, which was Company A, you know. And it was Company A, and we were, because I was working with him, you know, making sure everything got done that needed to be done and so on. You know, we were basically a team that worked closely together, and we became best of friends through that process.
I got you. With the book you wrote, What Makes Trump Tick? What does make him tick?
The lack of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, that's really one of the most important characteristics of what Donald Trump is and who he is. I mean, we've had president after president after president on both sides that promised to move the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. And then they all wimped out. They all work on fear. Oh, if I do that, people are going to do this, and these people are going to do that. I better not.
Mm-hmm.
Where to Donald Trump, he said, I made the promise. I'm going to keep my promise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how he operates.
Yeah, and the other thing, it just bewilders me, shocks me, is you still have people out there that say, "Oh, he's just in this for himself. He's just this." Why? How can anyone even say that when, again, the guy has so much? There's no reason he has to be doing this. I mean, you as his friend have to know personally that he really loves this country. I mean, and he wants this. If I were in his shoes, I'd want to go down as one of the best presidents in history. And I think he wants to. He'll get there, but I think he truly has the country's interest at hand. Wait, why do people feel otherwise? Or are they just? What are your thoughts on that?
I can tell you of one day in particular, November 22nd, 1963. I remember clearly. We were sitting in American history class. We only had 12 students in any one of our classes. And so we were 6 and then 6 ahead of us, like 2 rows of 6. And one of the cadets came into our classroom and said that John Kennedy had just been shot. And one of the guys in the middle of the front row, I was sitting behind him, said, oh, good, I hope he dies, which I know, it's hard to imagine somebody would say something so stupid, but he said that. And then 3 other guys in the front row jumped up and just threw this guy down into his seat. And it didn't matter at that point, and one of those 3 guys was Donald Trump. And it didn't matter whether he was a Republican or Democrat or anything. It had nothing to do with that. We were in the military. We were in a military country. And our values were that was our commander-in-chief. And you can't say that about your commander-in-chief. It was just something that was just so wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's where he is. He's an American.
Yeah.
And he believes in everything this country stands for. But I will say that it's not as though he has a choice. Anyone who sees clearly as he sees what the alternative is to what he is, understands that if we just let it go, we're all doomed. Mm-hmm. His family is as doomed as yours.
Yeah.
If these people would have won. And so, in a sense, he has to protect himself. But the truth of the matter is, he's a loving man. He always was. Even we were together in the same barracks. We lived together basically in our 17th year and our senior year of high school together. And this is a guy who just knew he had your back. He was, other captains would have their cadets and their companies, doing what they had to do out of fear. Where Donald, it was never fear. It was that you just wouldn't want to let him down because he was a good guy. Mm-hmm. That's how good of a guy he was.
Well, how does he deal with just the overall? I mean, if people were accusing me of things that were just blatantly false, I'd have a hard time with it. But how day after day? How does he deal with stuff like that?
Well, he's a fatalist. He really what is. And you got to deal with what is. You can't necessarily have the world the way you want it to be, but do everything you can to make it that way. Mm-hmm. And that's the way he lives. So, he's found a way of, when somebody comes along and does something horrible to him, somehow he's still able to enjoy the rest of his day the best he can. He doesn't want to waste it. It's something that he sees given to him from God. Mm-hmm. And it's something that is not to be wasted. So he's just above it. Somehow he's got that kind of strength.
He said it best. I think he said, this is a movement, and we're all part of a movement. And I got to tell you, I've never really been part of a movement, but I feel this, and this is definitely a movement. And it is. It's almost, I don't know if you'd call it a revolution, but I mean, we're taking back our country, and to have him at the helm, I've never felt better. And so I'm sure that if you can convey that to him, let him know that a lot of people feel the same as I do, because along with the relief, there's also euphoria, and I'm really looking forward to the future, which is something I questioned for a long time. So how can people get a hold of your book? I mean, is it on Amazon? Because I got to tell
Amazon.
You, it's actually sold out, my friend. It's actually sold out. I mean, so it must be doing well. So, I mean, are there along with Amazon, I mean, are there places you can get it? I mean, because the name of the book is What Makes Trump Tick. And so, I mean, is it going to be stocked soon for the holidays?
I'll have to make sure. I didn't realize it was sold out. I'll have to make sure.
Well, I bought them all. I just bought them all to make it feel.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Well, yeah, sure. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope we can stay in touch. And, again, I'm not a big winter person. I'm certainly not a January person, but I've never looked forward to January more in my entire life. So
I know. It's so true. It's so true. I can't believe it's happening. I can't believe we accomplished it. And there were so many people that did so much. Everybody, there's hundreds of people that I dealt with during the course of this whole election. People like that nobody ever will know of. One fellow who was making sure that we got the we needed in Michigan that worked with me on some things, and I could just name a whole bunch of people, but I don't know what their names out there.
Sure.
Because we're not done yet.
No, we're not. Well, that's what's so exciting. Yeah. Right. The show's just starting.
Yes, the show's just starting. But those people that you're worrying, you're wondering, are they, realizing that they're about to be, the truth is going to come out. Look, there's a lot of people where we're going to be able to show that they've committed sedition. Okay, yeah. They've committed crimes that you can hang for. We've got people that have committed such crimes. We know the names and who they are of the people that organized and arranged for January 6th. Now, I know most people think that was a spontaneous event, but we have evidence. We have videos of people in the deep state and people in NGOs that were planning it before the 2020 election even occurred.
Wow.
And plus people from the Ukraine that were involved. Wow. Believe it or not. Wow. So I mean, there's a lot of shoes that could fall at this point, and that's going to be up to the president. I know he doesn't want to have our Justice Department weaponized anymore.
Right.
But at the same time, there are very serious crimes that have been committed by people who have basically sold out their country for whatever advantages they were getting.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And I think it's my opinion, but it's not my opinion that counts, that these people need to be prosecuted. If there's a crime that's been committed, it's a completely different thing to what happened to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. In other words, show me the man, we'll find something or we'll make something happen and we'll go after the guy. That's weaponizing the Department of Justice. But it wouldn't be doing that if it's just a matter of, here's the evidence, this is what these people did. Somebody should go after this. And then the decision would be to do it, even if it is against political opponents.
No, I agree.
So, but then again, justice not only has to be done, justice must appear to be done. And so would that be an appearance that looks like now we're weaponizing the Justice Department, which would then throw us backwards? Because that's the last thing that, it's better to let the people go free than look like we're doing the same thing that those creeps did.
No, I totally agree. But I think he's united. I mean, he's got so many people behind him. I think he's already unified so many people that, I think anything he's putting together now, even with Matt Gaetz and his, possible attorney general, I think a lot of that is obviously well thought out. And again, I think he has the country's best interest at hand, and I don't see him doing anything otherwise. And when people are naysayers and say, "Oh, he's just going to try to get back at us," no, I think he just wants to get us back to being the United States of America. And again, I think if anybody can do it, it's him. And I think he's going to make it bigger and not only make America great again, but make America the greatest it's ever been again. So I'm looking forward to the future. Well, Peter, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you'll do it again soon. Again, I urge everybody to go out and check out What Makes Trump Tick. That's his book. It's on Amazon. It'll be stocked again soon. And in the meantime, you have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. By the way, if anybody needs to get a hold of me, I'm at legalbrains.com.
Legalbrains.com. Got it. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, like I always say, if you don't have a right mind, you don't have a mind at all. In the meantime, until next week, I'm Todd Schowalter, along with my bestest buddy, Joey V. You've been listening to The Right Mind Show. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to The Right Mind Show with Todd Schowalter. To find out about all things Todd, go to StudioTodd.com. We will see you next Saturday night at 5 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL, and always streaming online at NewsTalkSTL.com.